Yo, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? Welcome to one of my first videos that I'm gonna do on the UFC. Um, that will be my phone going off before I can even get a chance to turn it off. What I would like to do with the UFC, I'm a huge UFC fan, and it's like my favorite sport. It's combat sport, but it's my favorite sport in general. I like it more than football, basketball, baseball. I watch it more than football, basketball, baseball. Uh, I'm just into it, right? And when you're into it, you watch it, and one of the things at some point you just may start betting it, right? I've started betting it. One thing I've starting to find out, I'm in Texas, aka a slave state, so I don't have access to, DraftKings, FanDuel, all the real stuff with big juicy odds that y'all have. I have to deal with the offshore stuff, Bovada, etc. You also, if you are not in a slave state, you also have a lot more options, just as far as different type of props and et cetera, et cetera. So with knowing the UFC and watching the UFC and pretty much knowing every fighter that pops up, how I bet it and how I look at it is from strength of schedule, right? Now, you can do this if you are not a huge fan, and if you're a little bit more casual, by just like it wouldn't be as effective, but this is a method, right? Going to really any website, I use SureDog, and looking up the card and clicking on each fighter, and not only looking for their record. This is what I do since I'm not super casual. I'm not sure how to work for you, but if you're betting on, it, I assume you know a little bit of it. This is my example, as a matter of fact, right? So I'll go to Over St. Preux versus Shogun Hua, right? So with Shogun Hua has been he's either a loss, he had a dub, it's either been close victories, or he's been TKO, something drastic. He TKO'd somebody a couple years ago, but recently it's been real drastic, right? So he's fighting over St. Preux, who is a former light heavyweight who went up to heavyweight, and this fight is right back at light heavyweight. So he's fighting a much bigger dude who's just fought much bigger dudes. And even though Over St. Preux lost those fights, that's another thing I go off of. I go off of bad streaks. All right. If somebody lose two, three in a row, they lose two, three in a row. They lose four in a row, they usually gone. But they lose two, three in a row, it's not good. Right. But in this particular case, he lost against Jamal here. I'm talking about Over St. Preux. He was KO'd in the second round. And then against Tanner Bozer, who just lost as well. But he lost on the feet in a little scrum against Tanner Bozer, who was a nice prospect. Not he's not Romanov, but he's nice. He got a little bit tougher schedule than Romanov have had. Actually, Tanner Bozer. Let me go to his name real quick. He had to fight Olaski and Latifi. He had to fight Cyril Gane already. Like he fought Cyril Gane in 19. He fought him 3 years ago, right? So his schedule's been a little different. So that's what I like to look at. Because in the UFC, bro, it matters who you fight. I have a lot of respect for all these guys and gals. Somebody like Rafael DeSantos come up and you look at his record and it ain't perfect, but he fought all the best motherfuckers in like two divisions. So of course, and there's the size discrepancies. It's just a lot of stuff that go on. Unless right? You just can't eyeball it. So I start off this method saying it's for casual. Casuals, I wouldn't do this. I would do this to people. I would I'm just trying to give advice. Shit. So in this fight, if I go to Bovada, I go to let me look for the odds. It's minus 250 for over St. Preux, and it's plus 195 for Shogun, right? So over St. Preux is not really that trustworthy. I'm gonna keep it real with you. He's not that trustworthy to just bet on. And losing two in a row, Again, the 2 to 4 rule, it kind of goes against my principles, even though I said it's a harder competition. But he's going to get Shogun, who is, I think he's more or less, he probably is fighting out his contract at this point. Um, but Shogun is going to be heavily outweighed. It's going to be a super big discrepancy in strength. He may still have the technique. So with fights like this is why I want to explain this fight. If you go to Bovada, if you go to any other site where you can look at more of the prop bets, minus 230, will a fight go to distance? Now there's plenty of prop bets here that whatever you think will be good for you will be good for you. But I'm just trying to build a parlay. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but I'm more or less trying to build a parlay. And this minus 230, if I'm trying to build a big parlay, looks a lot better than just outright betting on over in St. Preux for minus 250 or Shogun at plus 125. I believe it was plus 125. Let me go back to it. I think it was 125 or 175. 195 plus 195. Um, so in this case, minus 230 for the fight not going the whole distance because I don't think this is going the whole distance. Mainly because over since Prue last 3 fights didn't go the whole distance. If you look at his last 5 out of 6, they didn't go the whole distance. If you look at Shogun's last couple fights, he has some decisions in here. One is a draw. Uh, he got a decision here. This is TKO, KO, TKO, decision. But these decisions for 2015 and 16. He pretty much looks like he fights once a year and he hasn't fought in 2. Um, so he probably just needed a goddamn rest. So over St. Preux, like I say, he's not trustworthy when it comes to betting. Um, and who was not either. So I would either completely fade it or go for the fight not going at distance at minus 230. Again, if you're just making stupid big parlays, you can just go for something like that. I'm just looking at just different ways I can bet, right? Another way I like to bet the UFC is off of odds. You can really the public, right? This is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Kobe Covington versus Kamaru Usman 2. Kobe Covington was at some point a plus 300 underdog. He was a 3-1 underdog, right? And even though I don't like Kobe Covington, if you saw the first fight, there's no way, and if you saw any of Kobe's fights over the last 2 or 3, 4, however, there's no way he's a 3-1 underdog against anybody, let alone the dude he just fought. And it was one of the closest fights we had ever seen. Where going into the 5th round, both judges had it tied. So even though I lost the bet with him going for 3-1 underdog, that's still something you gotta take. You know what I mean? Like, how can you not take that? Who else? What big underdog did I get? Is there any crazy underdog I can't think of? I can't think of any, but let's look at this, right? So this underdog right here, Joe Lozon versus Cowboy Cerrone, plus 140 for Joe Lozon. Last time I checked, Joe Lozon won his last fight. I don't remember where it was. Um, Jonathan Pierce. It was 3 years ago. Okay, let's not. I think this might be another. I just randomly look at. It. I haven't like studied it or anything. Let's check it out though. Okay. So if you look at Cowboy Cerrone last couple fights, right? So his last fight was is this Cowboy Cerrone? When the fuck did he fight Connor? My goodness, he's had 3 fights since the Connor fight, and he lost them motherfuckers too. Oh my goodness, he fought Alex Morono. Jesus, I don't remember that. That was last year. My God. All right. So this is another fight where this is a Legends fight, right? And it's one of those fights where Cowboy Cerrone, he always, if he gonna lose, it's gonna be in the first or second round because for whatever reason, he takes a while to get revved up. He takes a while to get started. Joe Lozon, he come out there and he just throw it to the bridge. You know what I'm saying? He gonna burn this motherfucker down. So this is another fight where I have no idea who's gonna win. We go over to this screen and we're gonna see if the fight go to distance. Minus 210. Like I said, if you build a little parlay, go ahead, tack it up. Tack it up. Minus 210 that it don't go to distance. I don't think this shit could go to distance. I think it's a better chance of this not going to distance than me picking, whoever I think will win. That's just how I think about things again. Um, you just kind of gotta know the vibe of UFC, though. Like it's people who may hear this may think, man, you betting all these fights to be a knockout. It's not. Yes, I actually am. Like some of these fights are just built like this. There's some fights I'm gonna completely fucking stay away from. We're gonna try to find one of those fights right now. I think uh Francisco Trinaldo and Danny Ramos might be one of those fights, but the Ariane Carnilosi and Lupita. Let me see if I can find a fighter on Sure Dog. Lupita, who's she's more of a wrestler grappler. She's had a lot of decisions. Every fighter's decision, except for on ball. She had a 5 round. Oh, she has some. She's championship round experience. I didn't know that. Um, but yeah, she has all decisions, and so is the young lady she's fighting. I know she has a stoppage recently. Yeah, she knocked some chick out. And well, in this one, the last four are all stoppages. She lost one of them, but it's stoppages. This is more of a style thing. When you go on Shirt Dog, you go on whatever site you go to, and you see a win or loss, and you just see several of them. I'm looking at her 10 fights here. I can look at 10 fights: submission, TKO, 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 decision, TKO, decision, TKO, decision, TKO, TKO, submission. This motherfucker's crazy. She's crazy. That's what that means. So, um, she's a plus 144 underdog. And the only thing I can look at is a competition. And it's Estella Nunes, who's okay. And it's Na Liang, it was our first fight in the UFC. And she also, Jesus, yeah, I would have picked this fight to be a damn early stoppage or something too. Sweet Jesus. So let's go to Lupita. She has a lot of decisions, but let's see who she's for. She's for Luana Carolina, Savannah Gomez. Dang, this is what she was, just a fucking grappling menace. And she's fighting. Okay. Okay. So she ain't fought nobody. No disrespect. So this is a fight I would absolutely stay away from. Like I'm more than sure Ariane Cole and Lucy, like I said, if I'm gonna build a parlay and I'm just trying to pick a fighter, I'm gonna pick Carlosi at plus 144 because I know she has submissions and I know that Lupita is a more of a ground specialist. She's always taking people down, etc., doing what she got to do. So uh, that's how I would look at it. I'm not telling people how to bet. I'm just saying people this is how I bet. Strength of schedule is big for me. Um, haven't been betting that often, that long, but it's been pretty good every time I do it. And that's through just regular normal betting and also through fantasy sports, DraftKings, FanDuel, different things like that. But let's get to the main fights. Let's get to the main fights. So that's what we're here for. We're here for. Let's get back to it. So Justin Gaethje versus Charles Oliveira. This is a absolute fight, and this is another one of those fights where Justin Gaethje is a plus 145 underdog. And this is a 5 round fight. Does this fight go to distance? What's the odds on that? It is minus 475 that this fight does not go to distance. Minus 475. So, uh, what you have to do with this is either pick your favorite or stay away completely. Um, I think it is if you look at the odds, like I'm looking at the odds here, like for instance, round one submission for Charles Oliveira is plus 400. TKO stoppage for Justin Gaethje is plus 600. That's just round one. You know what I mean? That's just if it stops, if it gets stopped in round one. I don't think it is a. I don't think that there is a legitimate way to attack this. Maybe like there's a section where it says over 1.5 rounds or over 2.5 rounds. Like for the fight to go 3 rounds, it's plus 120. But the fight to go under 3 rounds, it's minus 155. Like these people really think this fight is gonna stop in the first 2 rounds, basically. Because to go over 3 rounds, over 3 rounds to 4 rounds is plus 180. Like they really don't think this is gonna go anywhere. Mm. See, these are one of the fights that I would just say either pick a favorite or fade completely. If you're a bitter parlay, go ahead and throw somebody in there because you gotta make the fucking money. You gotta do something. If you want to do something, you gotta do it. But I will go with I'm gonna go with Charles Oliveira just to just because I'm building a parlay. That's who I trust more. The next fight, Rose Namajunas, Carlos Esparza. They fought before. Carlos Esparza beat. I don't know if she submitted her or anything. I think she just beat her. Let me go to Rose's. Rose's fight's always fucking dramatic. Yeah, she got choked. It was in the Ultimate Series. Rose's fights always dramatic, dude. Like when she loses, like she lost split decision against Karolina Kowalkiewicz a long time ago. I don't remember how they when she choked Paige Van Zant. Fifth round, she got slammed on her fucking head. Just TKOs, punches. Those fights against Joanna was just disgusting. Um, see, I'm gonna go. So these ladies have fought before, right? And it was a submission, it's third round submission. It wasn't a first round fight. It wasn't a. I don't remember it being an absolute domination, or it has been portrayed that way. Like trying to see if oh the first fight was a domination and we still got a fucking rematch. Actually, that would be like DC Stipe 1, where we still got a rematch, even though it wasn't those type of fights. You know what I mean? Like, so I would say because of strength of schedule over the last 6 fights, I want to go with Rose Namajunas. So she's minus 220, where Carlos Balls is plus 172. What's the third big fight on it? It's another. Uh, yeah, Michael Chandler and Tony Ferguson. So this is another one. Where right, so Tony Ferguson lost his last like four, right? Let's look it up. It's like the last three or four. He's lost his last three, but he's lost his last three against Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, and Beneil Dariush. Right? Who he beat before that was Cowboy Cerrone, Anthony Pettis, Kevin Lee, Rafael dos Anjos. It's all like this is all stoppages in this motherfucker. Yeah, one decision with dos Anjos. All right, so if you go off momentum, they both lost the last two to Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira. They both lost to this. Michael Chandler beat Dan Hooker. I think. All right, so the odds are telling me. See, Tony Ferguson, he's lost his last three, but these are good. He lost to the best, right? He lost for the dudes that's about to fight for the title. Both of them did. So for the odds to be minus 425, maybe because I know I know Tony was dominated by Beneil Dariush in the grappling, and he was dominated on the feet by Justin Gaethje. So that gives you some pause because he used to just be karate man everywhere. But plus 295 is a little crazy, but it's nothing I would bet on. Let's check to see. Will this fight go to distance minus 200 for no? I think that's probably your best bet. I think that's the best fucking bet. We not doing no round robins around here, player. I think that's your best bet. Um, so I think Michael Chandler's gonna win the fight, but again, these odds is plus 300. For two guys that's coming off losses to the same guys. It's a little bit much, right? Yeah, maybe I'm tripping, man, but I'm a little thrown off. But I'm still go vote by the distance. So that it won't make the distance. So it's just how I usually look at things. Um, Y'all feel free in the comments. Let me know. I really want to start doing videos about UFC, maybe some baseball. Man, I've been watching a lot of baseball lately, but definitely UFC. I want to talk UFC every single day. God damn, I want to talk it every day. So I'm gonna try to push out as many videos as possible, man. Thank y'all for listening, like, subscribe, hit me up in the comments. We're gonna chat it up. Holler.